Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Morons for May 20th, 2019. This week, let's begin with weasel words. In this case, words added to a comment that make it both true and at the same time utterly meaningless to a conversation. Student government, conservative group, has the potential to cause harm. A California student court overturned the student government's decision to reject a conservative club in early May. Santa Clara University's student government denied the school's Young Americans for Freedom chapter registered student organization status in late April. While 14 student senators voted to establish YAF as an RSO, and only 9 voted against it, according to a document obtained by Campus Reform, a supermajority of 16 votes were required to establish the organization. Now, I have no idea why they decided they needed a supermajority for this, but whatever. I guess that's the rule they play by, so not going to comment further on that bit. But before we get to the meat of this, let's just cover why registration as a student organization matters, and I admit, I finally got bothered enough to actually look it up because we've seen a number of these sorts of stories where conservative clubs have been denied recognition. So the main question is, does a registered student organization get some sort of special benefit over any other sort of random club? The answer is yes. Now, it appears that every campus has their own set of rules, procedures, and benefits, but in general, they all share something very important in common. Now, I'm just going to show you the RSO benefits from the University of Arkansas because that was the one that first popped up on a Google search. I checked several others, of course, for comparison, but this one is nicely organized into the appropriate sections, and it makes it easier to show you what we're talking about so we can just get to the point. In addition to other benefits like permission to use the university logos and trademarks, organized fundraising, publicity through the university publications, etc., the important one is, as I've highlighted, in order to get access to the university funds, you have to be an RSO. That's right, it's about money. Big shock, I'm sure. So an RSO can get access to and spend university money as long as they are a registered student organization. And to get registration status, in this case, they have to be approved by the student government. Sounds great, right? I mean, what could possibly go wrong with an arrangement like that? Well, let's see what happens when the people sitting on the student government are partisan morons. Let's see what kinds of excuses they use to deny clubs they just don't like. The Santa Clara student government claimed that YAF's platform on freedom of speech has the potential to cause harm to other members of the SCU community. Example, by making students question their safety, according to a document obtained by Campus Reform. Student Senator Sahil Sagar said that the group could pose a threat to illegal immigrant students. In regards to legal immigration, we do have plenty of students on our campus who are undocumented and may see your club as a threat because of your stance, I assume, on legal immigration, Sagar said, according to meeting minutes. Now, this is one of my favorite excuses of the bunch. Can you guess why? Here's a hint. One little word. Potential. Your club has the potential to cause harm. Potential is one of those magical little weasel words. Because technically speaking, that single word makes what he said true and at the same time utterly meaningless. Every club has the potential to cause harm. Every person has the potential to cause harm. Hell, everything on earth has the potential to cause harm. So all Sahil has actually said here is, I vote no because water is wet. That's the glory of weasel words like potential or could, another one of my favorites. You see he used that too. Could pose a threat. Yeah, and a meteor could fall out of the sky and blow up the student council 5 minutes from now. Technically true, right? And yet utterly meaningless to the conversation. Bob has the potential to win the lottery, buy up all the surrounding properties in the neighborhood, and kick all my neighbors out on the street. But that doesn't mean I decide he's not allowed to buy a lottery ticket anymore. Mostly because I wouldn't mind if he actually did that, but we'll cross that bridge if it ever happens. The point is, you're using assumed hypotheticals to justify your choice by ignoring all other possible outcomes. I mean, this club could also have the potential to do good things. Why have you ignored that branch of the potential tree? because you don't agree with this club. You're talking shit and making excuses because that's all you've got. You don't agree with them, so they shouldn't exist. Just like a good little fascist. The student government also claimed that YAF had featured Minnesota Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar in its presentation to appeal to left-leaning students, with no correlation to the overall conservative ideologies expressed by YAF. Oh no! Deceptive advertising? They'd be the first organization in the history of the world to ever do that, wouldn't they? Still, they got a point, right? We don't want to give RSO status to a bunch of deceptive liars, except SCU Associate Justice Matthew DeSimone, whatever, a member of the student government court, which later overturned the decision, noted that the assertion that YAF was trying to cast Omar as endorsing the club was thoroughly disproven, as Omar never appeared in YAF's presentation. Rob Zintel, the one student government court member who did not vote to overturn the decision, also agreed with this assessment. Yeah, they're a bunch of liars, except it never happened. They didn't pretend Omar endorsed their club. In fact, Omar didn't appear in their presentation at all. So here's another one, just making shit up out of thin air to deny status to a club you just don't like. Now, any more super great, totally not yanked out of your ass reasons to deny this group RSO status? SCU recognizes two conservative clubs, College Republicans and Turning Point USA. Student government sophomore Senator Clara whatever, who voted to deny YAF RSO status, suggested with granting recognition to another conservative club at Santa Clara might result in a surplus of conservative clubs, according to the meeting minutes. Freshman Senator whatever, who voted the same way, claimed that YAF is redundant to TPUSA. Party and ideology are parallel. It is redundant to have a separate nonpartisan group, he said, referencing YAF. Right. You don't need this club because there's already two whole conservative clubs on campus. I mean, really, how many fucking clubs do you need, huh? However, other RSOs with similar missions exist at the school. For instance, SCU boasts 3 separate networking and career help-themed organizations entitled Women in STEM, Women in Physics, and Society of Women Engineers. The school also allows Alpha Kappa Psi and Delta Sigma Pi, both co-ed business fraternities, to operate as RSOs. Well, apparently if you've got the right ideas, i.e. ideas we agree with, then you can have as many fucking clubs as you want. You can read the rest for yourself if you like, but I think we've already shown what's really happening here. These good little fascists voted no because these damn conservatives suffer from the dangerously contagious disease called wrongthink. Don't want that shit spreading. There is a bit of good news if you read far enough, though. The actual majority of the student government did vote in favor of allowing this club, and they acknowledge the importance of allowing free speech and diversity of thought on campus. Also, the student court overturned the denial because they too saw through the lies and bullshit put forth to deny this group status. So that's nice. The bad news, of course, all this really means is it goes back for another vote where you're going to get the same result again because a small butthurt minority can still vote no for whatever imaginary bullshit reason they want. So, yeah, you're still fucked. And what does this sort of progressive hegemony on college campuses lead to? Revolutionary communists descend on UCLA, advocate overthrow of the system. How about a little sedition? Think I'm being hyperbolic? Well, let's just start with the definition of the word. Sedition, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Now, let's just see if that's not exactly what they're doing. Members of the Revolutionary Communist Party of America launched an advertising campaign at the University of California, Los Angeles in early May by chalking and distributing signage in an apparent effort to recruit college students to subscribe to their communist ideology. The group set up signs, handed out flyers, and wrote out chalk markings, as seen in photos obtained by Campus Reform, even after being asked by staff and housing officials to stop their activities. The group distributed manifesto, condemned capitalism, as well as jokes based on race, gender, nationality, etc., chalked markings on the ground, and walls asked students to speak. The communists remained in the campus dorms, known as the Hill, for several hours before leaving. Sections D3, D8, and D10 of UCLA's on-campus housing regulations forbid using housing spaces without permission, chalking and signing on the Hill without UCLA approval. The failure of the group's signage to be in residential life display cases indicates that that was not obtained, and advertising a non-university organization without approval, respectively. However, according to UCLA's on-campus conduct policy, there exists no process for sanctioning non-resident violations. A whiteboard displayed by the group bore the message, "Revolution is the only solution." Did you catch that? The campus has all these rules about who is allowed to do this kind of shit and where, but absolutely no way to enforce these rules. That's just brilliant. But that's not my real area of concern here. Instead, let's just look at the flyer these people were handing out. Now read point number 6. We are going for an actual overthrow of the system and a whole better way beyond the destructive, vicious conflicts of today between the people. Remember this? And just in case you were wondering, yes, it is illegal. So I don't really give a rat's ass about the campus rules they break with apparent impunity. My question is this: where's the FBI? And how long do they plan on allowing these people to continue this shit before they charge them with sedition against the United States? Also, read through that list again. Notice anything? A certain theme, perhaps? There's a whole lot of "we do not tolerate" for the self-proclaimed tolerant people, don't you think? What's next, Bob? Long Island University to ditch Blackbird's nickname, "It's offensive and racist." Racist to whom? Blackbirds? It's a fucking animal, you lunatics! I'm not even going to read through this one for you. There's really nothing more to say. These people are cracked. They're so addicted to being offended that they will seriously be offended by anything just to get their fix. They're little better than crackheads at this point. Seek professional help, you mental cases. Toxic masculinity time, Bob. 3 arrested in murder of Chicago woman 19 who was 9 months pregnant, cops say. 3 people have been arrested and charged in connection with the death of a pregnant Chicago woman who was strangled before her baby was cut from her womb, authorities announced Thursday. Whoop, hold on. Spoiled already, Bob. Look at that picture. We already know who's at fault here. The guy on the right. Okay, I'll keep reading, but I'm telling you, this is all that guy's fault. Clarissa Figueroa, 46, and her 24-year-old daughter, Desiree, face first-degree murder charges in the death of a 19-year-old Marlon Ochoa Lopez, who had gone to the woman's home in response to a Facebook offer of free baby clothes, Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson said at a press conference. The older woman's boyfriend, 40-year-old Piotr, I'm going to call him Peter, with concealing a death by homicide, police said. Ha! Told you it was his fault. Bah, after schmafter. He was the mastermind behind this whole thing, I just know it. Desiree Figueroa, who pretended Ochoa Lopez's baby was hers, admitted to helping her mother strangle the woman with a coaxial cable, police said. The newborn was in grave condition and not expected to survive, police spokesman Anthony whatever said. Ochoa Lopez's body was found early Wednesday behind the house, more than 3 weeks after she was last seen leaving her high school on April 23rd. The same day, paramedics were called to the Figueroa's home, several miles away on the southwest side, about a newborn with problems breathing. Chicago Fire Department spokesman Larry Merritt said a 46-year-old woman called 911 reporting her newborn baby was in distress. When paramedics arrived, the baby wasn't breathing. The baby was blue, said Merritt. Paramedics tried to resuscitate the baby on the way to the hospital, he said. The family of Ochoa Lopez, a married mother of a 3-year-old son, said a woman on Facebook had lured her to the home by offering a stroller and baby clothes. She was giving clothes away, supposedly under the pretense that her daughters had been given clothes and they had all of these extra boys' clothes, said Cecilia Garcia, a spokeswoman for the family. A break in the investigation came after the woman who said she had given birth to the baby set up an online fundraising campaign, another spokesman for Ochoa Lopez's family said. The GoFundMe campaign said that the baby was about to die and money was needed for a funeral. Police then conducted DNA tests and determined that Ochoa Lopez and her husband, Giovanni Lopez, were actually his parents, Walker said. Lopez told reporters that he understood his son was likely to die soon, but that he still wasn't giving up hope. We plead to God that he gives us our child because that is the blessing that my wife left for us, he said in Spanish through an interpreter. Well, first, best of luck to the little boy and to you, Mr. Lopez. I do hope he survives. And, okay, Bob, you got me. It wasn't entirely the boyfriend's fault. It was society's fault. Don't you see? Figueroa may have set up the Facebook post to lure Lopez in. Yeah, sure, she may have strangled the woman with the help of her daughter. And yeah, maybe they cut out the baby and tried to pretend it was hers. But, don't you see, they only did that because of patriarchal society gender norms that insist women have to be mothers. Don't groan at me, Bob. You know it's true. All men are to blame for this one. All right, let's wrap it up. Florida man calls 911 after comedian makes Middle East joke. 911, what's your emergency? A comedian told a joke I didn't like. You fucking idiots. That's it for this week. Remember the social justice mantra: women are victims, men are oppressors, and feminism is just about equality. I'll see you all next time.